Hello and welcome back to another exciting chess classic. This one was played in 2006 between former world chess champion Anatoly Karpov and his opponent Vladimir Eduardovich Akopian. Now, in the time of where this game took place, Anatoly Karpov was not in his prime, but Akopian was. Of course, Anatoly Karpov is an old player, and back in 2006 he wasn't in his prime. Akopian had his highest rated ELO around that time, and he was higher rated player when this tournament took place in the Moscow Cup. Truly exciting game until the very end, where one of the players solved this game with effective endgame play. You will see it and you will enjoy it. So without further ado, let's go straight into it. Karpov opens the game with d4. We have d5, c4 and c6. We're in Slav defense. White continues with knight to f3. We have knight to f6 and we have e3 on the board with the idea to protect this pawn here. A bishop goes on f5 for black. We have knight to c3 for white, and we have e6, a common structure in the Slav game. Game continued with knight to h4, also a common idea in the Slav games to chase this bishop. Bishop retreats on g6, and we have knight takes on g6, h takes on g6, and h3 on the board was played for white. We have knight b to d7, we have bishop to d2, bishop d6 and bishop d3 for Anatoly Karpov. D takes on c4, bishop takes on c4 and castle for black as well. For now, black's king is safe and there is nothing white can do, although in some positions, especially in the London system, white might try to go with g4, even not castling his king and going for king g2 and then pushing these pawns and creating a strong attack. We have castle for white, e5 on the board for black, and right now d takes on e5 was played, knight takes on e5, and now this bishop is attacked. Karpov places this bishop on the perfect bishop e2 square according to the engine as well. We have a g5 on the board, grabbing even more space, and later in the game preparing for a g4 move. e4 was played for Anatoly Karpov with the idea to open up some space and also to prepare to pick up this pawn. We have knight to h7. The idea is to protect this pawn, and also this knight will then find itself on the e6 square later in the game, you will see. Bishop goes on e3. We have queen on e7 for black. Queen goes on c2. Rook f to d8 and knight to a4 for Anatoly Karpov. Anatoly Karpov wants to go knight to c4 a little bit later. Knight to c5. We have knight to f8, so black uses his idea of rerouting his knight. Now that this pawn is defended by his queen. Knight goes on c5 and b6 was played for black. Akopian doesn't want to trade and he goes for pushing away this knight. Knight retreats to b3 and we have knight to e6 played. Finally this knight finds his perfect square there. Rook f to d8 and now we have c5. Black is already has slight advantage. He is pushing for the space in the center. We have a3 on the board for Karpov. We have a5 for black and we have knight to d2, white trying to reroute his knight. Immediately struck with knight to d4, threatening to pick up this bishop, also attacks the queen. Bishop takes d4 is a must. C takes on d4 and knight to f1. Karpov now tries to put his knight somewhere on g3, for example. We have rook a to c8. Queen retreats because it's attacked, and we have d3, a positional sacrifice by black. After bishop takes on d3, we have bishop c5. Right now trying to pressure this pawn here. As you can see, we have an opposite color endgame, opposite colored bishops, and when these things occur on the board, this means that these dark pawns will have trouble white will have trouble defending them because this bishop is a light squared. We have bishop to a6 attacking this rook, another not so good move by Anatoly Karpov. Black simply plays a rook to c6 and game continues with a trade of rooks. Queen takes on d8. Anatoly Karpov still has a pawn advantage, but black is doing much better here by computer evaluation, now almost 2 pawns of advantage. We have queen to d1, we have rook to d6, obviously black still doesn't want to trade. Queen to b3 and a rook to f6. As I mentioned before, now this weak pawn on f2 will be a target. We have queen to d4 for Anatoly Karpov. This is an inaccuracy. After rook to f6, there is not much you can do. I mean, even if you try something like knight to e3, for example, black would continue with queen to d2, pressuring this pawn again. And now if you offer a trade, black will take with his rook, and after queen takes on d2, rook takes on d2, this knight is hanging rook e1 is a must in order to defend, and then black will start picking up these pawns and he will have a completely won endgame. So queen to d5 was played in the game. Queen to c7 was played for a copy, although after queen to d5 you can trade the queens. E takes on d5, and after rook takes on f2, king h1 and rook takes on b2. This is also a won endgame for black, but black wanted to go for queen to c7 for now. We have b4. Now bishop takes on f2 with a check, king retreats on h1, and we have a g4 on the board. Right now h takes on g4 is not a possibility back because rook h6 will be a checkmate soon because your king is very weak. Now, for example, after knight to h2, black will sacrifice, and after king takes on h2, we have knight takes on g4 with a discovered check, with a double check, and right now you have king to h2. If you go on h3, then queen to g3 is a checkmate, and if you go to h1, then queen on h2. Sorry, then queen on h2 is a checkmate. So a really difficult position. After g4, you cannot take this pawn, and white tries to defend with rook to d1, trying to offer some trade here. But king to h7 was played for a copy, trying to avoid the queen trade, and he wants to trade when he wants to. Queen to d8, queen to c3. Strong move with the idea to open up the king and try to pick up this pawn. Karpov tries to defend with queen to c8, but we have rook to f3 on the board. Now this move is a mistake by computer evaluation. This does not mean a drawn game for white, but white had something stronger here. I will show you. After queen to c8, the idea is that you should continue this pressure on the second and third rank. Now queen to c1 is the best, and after queen to b3, let's say knight to d2, you can immediately go on let's say g3 here. After g3, if knight to f1, you continue with queen to h4, and now there is pretty much nothing you can do with picking up this pawn here, and your king's position will be collapsed. So that's the computer's idea in this position. But after queen to c8, rook to f3, slightly weaker move, a mistake marked by computer, although black still has the advantage. We have knight to h2. Now I want to show you, because it looks like this is a free rook. It's of course not a free rook. After rook to f3, if you decide to let's say go and play something like queen picks up on c3, this is a possibility. And after b takes on e5, rook takes on a3, h takes on g4, and b takes on a5, almost 2 pawns of advantage, and this is a lost endgame technically for white. But white had this possibility also after knight to h2, sorry, after rook to f3. If you decide to play something else and you ignore this threat, and let's say you play queen to e8, then after rook to h3 check, after g takes on h3, which is a must, black continues with queen to f3 check, and after king to h2, queen picks up on h3 is a checkmate. So queen to h2 was played for Anatoly Karpov in order to defend his h-file. We have queen picking up on c8, black finally decides, and after bishop takes on c8, we have rook picking up on a3. Black is getting ready to finalize this endgame. We have b takes on a5, and right now we have g3, another crucial move in this endgame, pushing away this knight, and after knight picks up on f3, knight picks up on f3, and g takes on f3. Now I wanted to ask you, in this position, how would you continue? Do you think it's a good move to pick up this pawn, or we should continue something else? And if we should continue with something else, what that move could be? You can pause the video and let me know in the comments. Of course, I will show you if the move rook f3 is played. This is actually not a good move, and black's advantage is almost completely lost, because right now a6 is a move, and now you have to go rook to a3, and again you give up chances for white that now can play e5, although technically this is still by computer evaluation lost endgame. It's definitely more easy to play with black than with white. Still, you have an opposite color of bishops, and if this bishop is active and he can stop the promotion, you will have a drawn endgame. So you don't want to give your opponent chances. After g takes on f3, the best move was rook to a2, and this is basically the final move that completely deletes all hopes for white. The reason for that is, now, let's say after this move, if you ignore it completely and you say, okay, let's just push my pawn, let's try to promote, this is a problem, because right now you are in a mating net. Bishop e3 is the move that will lead you to that will lead you to a lost game, pretty much. There is nothing you can do. Checkmate on rook with rook takes on h2 is coming, and you can give up your pieces. Let's say bishop f5, g6, bishop takes on g6. You don't even need to take this bishop, you completely ignore it. And now you have to go with a rook to d2, giving up your rook, and after rook takes on d2, you can play anything you would like. H5, h4, you can play e5, rook h2 is a checkmate. Nothing you can do here. So Karpov tried with king to g2, bishop e1 check from the rook, king goes on f1, and now we have bishop b4 move. Again, the threat is g2 check and promotion with a checkmate. A rook to d5 is the last move that you can try. Now after g2, king to g1 is a must, and after bishop takes on c2, Anatoly Karpov decided to resign because there is nothing you can do. Rook takes on c5 is a must, and after b takes on c5, you can try with, let's say, computer offers this move like bishop a6. We simply pick up this, and for example, if you go with bishop to d3, we can now continue with rook to a4 and pushing c4 and pushing for a win here. And this is how this wonderful game ended, and this is all I have prepared for you today. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did and you managed to solve the puzzle, congratulations, you really have a great knowledge of endgames, you know how to convert your advantage, and if not, don't be mad at yourself. This is two top grandmasters, one of them is a world champion, so don't be mad if you missed a winning idea here. If you wish to improve your chess, do check the link in the description of this video. I'm a part of this community, and if you're serious about your chess improvement and you want to spend time developing your chess skills, all of it, from openings, endgames, middle game, tactics, strategy, everything you might need, then this is definitely a place for you to grow. I invite you to check it out. You will not regret it, no matter what your elo is. There is so much to learn about chess, you don't even know it. Chess is such a rich game that, except you're, of course, grandmaster like Karpov, then you don't need this course, but if you're not, I will highly recommend checking it out. And, of course, I want to hear you about this game. I want to hear your comments and your thoughts and your opinions. Thank you so much for watching, and I wish you a pleasant day. Bye-bye.